After presiding over thousands of cases in this courtroom, one truth has revealed itself to me with brutal consistency. Arrogance wears many disguises, but it always collapses the moment it collides with justice. I have seen it wrapped in expensive suits, hidden behind powerful surnames, polished with political influence, and masked by celebrity smiles. Yet no matter how dazzling the exterior, the ending is always the same. And the day Elena Voss stood before me remains one of the most explosive examples of entitlement unraveling in real time that I have ever witnessed. Elena Voss was 25 years old, an international supermodel whose face towered over highways from New York to Milan, whose walk had defined entire fashion seasons, and whose name alone could open or destroy careers in the industry. But on that unforgettable day, the same woman collapsed on the courtroom floor in handcuffs, heaving with uncontrollable sobs after I imposed the maximum sentence allowed by law. Designer heels scattered across the floor, silence gripping the room, the kind of silence that follows something irreversible. It was one of those rare, pulse-pounding, edge-of-your-seat moments that left everyone present, court staff, deputies, spectators, and millions watching later online, stunned into stillness. The fashion world buzzed for months afterward. Commentators argued. Influencers raged. But the message was unmistakable. Justice does not bow to billboards, runway fame, or celebrity tantrums. If you have ever felt that deep, blood-boiling frustration watching someone drenched in privilege treat laws as optional inconveniences, something meant for ordinary people, not them, then stay with me. Because this story is not just about punishment. It is about the moment entitlement meets an immovable wall. To understand how it all detonated, we must go back to the very beginning. It was a bright Saturday afternoon on the coastal highway just outside Providence. Traffic was light and relaxed. Weekend shoppers drifted toward boutiques. Families cruised with windows down, enjoying the first warm stretch of the season. The atmosphere was calm, almost carefree, until it shattered without warning. Out of nowhere, a custom matte black Range Rover tore through traffic at nearly 130 miles per hour in a 65-mile-per-hour zone. The SUV weaved violently between lanes, cutting off minivans and sedans as if they were stationary obstacles on a racetrack. High beams flashed aggressively. The horn blared in long, furious bursts at anyone who dared occupy the left lane for more than a heartbeat. Officer Daniel Chun, a 15-year veteran who knew every dangerous curve of that highway like muscle memory, spotted the vehicle instantly. He activated his lights and sirens without hesitation. What he witnessed next was not panic, but defiance. The Range Rover slowed dramatically, almost mockingly, before drifting to the shoulder. The engine continued to growl, as if insulted by the interruption. The driver's window lowered only a few inches, just enough for the scent of ultra-expensive perfume to spill into the air, followed by the unmistakable glint of designer sunglasses. Before Officer Chun could finish his standard, professional greeting, license and registration, the driver leaned forward. A young woman appeared, wrapped in a silk designer scarf, hair immaculately styled, lips curling into a bored sigh, filled with disdain. This was Elena Voss. She looked at the officer the way one looks at a fly buzzing near a chandelier. "Officer," she said slowly, her accented tone dripping with fashion world superiority. "You are making a very serious, career-ending mistake right now." She paused, letting her name land like a threat. "I'm Elena Voss. My face is on billboards worldwide. One call from me, and your department will be answering to my agents and my brands. Your badge will be a souvenir on my desk by dinner. Your pension? A fond memory." She smirked. "Write your little ticket if it helps your ego. It'll be ashes before you clock out." She refused to fully hand over her registration. Instead, she filmed the encounter on her diamond-studded phone, smiling into the camera, winking as if already rehearsing the story she would laugh about later in Paris. She called the stop adorable local theater and complained about how her extremely valuable time was being wasted. Then, the instant Officer Chun turned toward his cruiser to run the plates, Elena floored the accelerator. The Range Rover vanished down the highway in a cloud of exhaust, entitlement, and contempt. Every second was captured on the dash cam. The reckless speed, the mocking commentary, the illegal evasion. It was not just traffic misconduct. It was a direct challenge to authority, filmed in real time. The charges followed swiftly and decisively. Reckless endangerment, excessive speeding, aggressive lane usage, evading a lawful traffic stop, contempt of an officer. One small miscalculation on that crowded road could have resulted in a multi-car disaster, families torn apart, headlines screaming tragedy across continents. Instead, it became something else entirely. Court day arrived, and the gallery was packed beyond anything I had seen in years. Fashion insiders whispered anxiously in tight clusters. Influencers live-streamed discreetly from back rows. Ordinary citizens drove hours just to witness whether justice truly was blind, or if runway power spoke louder than law. Even international reporters filled the corners, scribbling notes for podcasts and evening broadcasts. Elena arrived 40 minutes late. Her entrance was calculated, theatrical, and deliberate. She strode in like she was walking a Paris runway, custom black silk suit, tailored to perfection. Designer heels clicked sharply against the floor. Hair flawless. Makeup pristine. Oversized sunglasses perched like a crown. A luxury handbag swung from her arm like a symbol of untouchable status. She paused at the doorway, surveying the packed room with a smug grin, as if deciding whether the audience was worthy of her presence. No attorney stood beside her. She had waived counsel entirely. Later, we would learn she bragged to friends on private jet flights that her face was her lawyer, and that this small-town judge would fold the moment he recognized who she was. I struck the gavel several times as her phone continued pinging loudly in the silent courtroom. Eventually, the room settled. State versus Elena Voss, the clerk announced. As the charges were read in full detail, every dangerous swerve, every second of evasion, every recorded threat, the tension thickened. When I asked whether she understood the seriousness of the charges, Elena sighed theatrically and smiled. "Oh, I understand perfectly, Judge," she said. "Some patrolman got overexcited and picked the wrong person. I was rushing to an important shoot. Brands were waiting. Just tell me the fine so I can handle it and get back to matters that actually impact the world." The room shifted, and that was when I knew this case would not end quietly. The gallery reacted before I said another word. Seats shifted. Murmurs rippled across the room like static before a storm. People leaned forward, sensing what was coming. I had seen defendants try confidence, denial, even arrogance. But this was something colder, more calculated. This was entitlement sharpened into a weapon. I kept my voice level, steady, controlled by decades of discipline. "Ms. Voss," I said, "this court acknowledges your prominence in the fashion industry. However, your fame does not alter the application of the law. You were recorded traveling at more than double the posted speed limit on a public highway. You executed aggressive maneuvers that placed multiple vehicles and innocent lives in immediate danger. And you fled a lawful traffic stop." I paused, letting the words settle. "These are not abstract violations. These are actions that kill people." Elena laughed. Not a nervous laugh. Not a misunderstanding. It was sharp, dismissive, the kind of laugh heard at exclusive parties when someone makes a joke about people who don't matter. She leaned forward, elbows on the table, confidence radiating from her posture. "Real lives in danger?" she scoffed. "Come on, let's not be dramatic. My Range Rover has more safety technology than most small countries have in their air forces. Nothing happened. No crashes. No injuries. No headlines." She shrugged. "This is harassment. Because of who I am. Because of what my face sells." The room audibly reacted. Gasps, whispers, disbelief. Phones quietly rose across the gallery. Someone muttered, "Unbelievable." Elena wasn't finished. "If the city needs funding," she continued casually, "or if you want a donation for whatever local causes you care about, fine. Name your price. My campaigns bring in more in a single month than this entire state sees in a year." The prosecutor stood sharply. "Objection." I raised my hand. "Ms. Voss," I asked, "are you attempting to influence or resolve criminal charges with financial offers in open court?" She threw her head back and laughed louder this time, the sound echoing off the walls, making people flinch. "I'm not attempting anything," she said, locking eyes with me. Her voice hardened beneath the polish. "I'm promising." The temperature in the room dropped. "My face is on every billboard from here to Tokyo. One call from me, and this court becomes international news, for all the wrong reasons. Your name gets dragged across every fashion network. Your reputation becomes a cautionary tale whispered backstage at Paris Fashion Week." She leaned closer. You'll be lucky to judge parking tickets in a mall lot after this. A pause. Drop these ridiculous charges. Apologize for wasting my time. And I'll make sure my brand sends a very generous donation. Or keep playing small-town hero and watch your entire career burn. That was the moment something shifted, not just in the room, but in her. She reached down slowly, deliberately, theatrically, removed one of her designer heels, held it up, for everyone to see. Phones lifted higher. Breath caught in throats. Deputies tensed. Then she hurled it. The heel cut through the air, flashing under the courtroom lights before slamming into the wood just below the bench with a sharp, violent crack. It spun across the floor and came to rest at my feet. The gallery exploded. Gasps turned into shouts. Chaos rippled outward. The bailiff lunged. Deputies rushed forward. Someone screamed. Cameras shook as hands trembled. I stood. Ms. Voss, I said, my voice cutting cleanly through the noise. In this courtroom, designer heels do not substitute for respect. Tantrums do not erase responsibility. And throwing objects constitutes disorderly conduct and contempt. Her confidence evaporated in real time. She stared at the heel on the floor like she couldn't believe it was no longer in her hand. You can't, she whispered. I can, I said. And I will. I spoke deliberately, ensuring every word carried weight. You waived counsel. You did not contest the evidence. You escalated this proceeding through threats, attempted coercion, and physical disruption. State law permits maximum penalties for reckless endangerment with aggravating factors, extreme speeding, evasion, contempt, and courtroom misconduct. Her face drained of color. The maximum penalties include a $50,000 fine, license revocation up to 5 years, vehicle forfeiture, and incarceration of up to 1 year. Her lips parted. I did not hesitate. Given the severity of the offenses, your complete absence of remorse, and your assault on the dignity of this court, I impose the full maximum sentence. The courtroom froze. 1 year in county jail, $50,000 fine payable immediately, 5-year license suspension, forfeiture of the vehicle to be auctioned for public safety programs, and upon release, 2,000 hours of court-mandated community service, beginning with highway cleanup and maintenance of roadside memorials for victims of reckless driving. The silence lasted exactly half a second. Then the room erupted. People stood. Applause thundered against the walls. Cheers broke through disbelief. Deputies moved swiftly. Elena's knees buckled. She collapsed onto the floor, sobbing, deep, heaving, uncontrolled cries. Her remaining heel slipped off. Her designer image shattered in seconds. No, no, my runway's my face, she gasped as cuffs closed around her wrists. Please, the doors closed behind her sobs. That night, the video detonated across the world. The heel throw replayed millions of times. Memes flooded the internet. Headlines screamed. Fashion houses froze contracts. Campaigns vanished overnight. Runway bookings evaporated. The auction of the Range Rover raised millions for road safety initiatives. Elena served 10 months. And then, months later, a letter arrived. Handwritten. Humble. It read, Judge, I threw that heel because I believed my face made me untouchable. You proved it didn't. Cleaning highways. Standing at memorials. Listening to families. I cried real tears, not for cameras, but for what I almost caused. Thank you for breaking my heel and letting me rebuild. She never returned to the spotlight. Instead, she worked quietly in fashion safety education, no billboards, no applause. That is justice. Not humiliation, but transformation. And that is where arrogance always ends when it collides with the law.